This video is designed to speculate and maybe project about how the Ravens offense might be changing. Of course, there's a stadium practice later tonight, so we'll probably get some more definitive answers. I've actually recorded the audio for this once already. I posted it up on YouTube. The audio was horrible, so if you sat through my video that premiered about 1:15 Eastern Standard Time today, you've really already seen this content. If you fought through the 30-plus minute video, my apologies. The audio was horrible, and I clearly needed to listen to it before I uploaded it. I changed some settings for the audio, and it didn't work out, so I reset the settings, and here we go. This is going to be a comparison between the Ravens' current offense, which most would concede is a pistol option run game oriented offense, even though our run pass numbers were different, vastly different in 2021. But I'm going to compare what we have run generally since 2019 to what is we may be going to. If you look at some of the training camp footage from day 1 and day 2, I didn't see a lot of day 3, to be honest with you. We're under center some. There's apparently some information that Patrick Mekari has practiced at left guard, which to me would be a quickness and speed improvement over anyone else by far. And Mekari played some right guard in 2019 and or 2020. And there was some pretty good film, especially in 2020. I think it was a 2020 game against Pittsburgh at home that he played right guard, and we ran the ball quite well. But before we get into the video and any film, I'm going to make a comparison between our pistol option run game scheme and one other scheme that many teams in the NFL run, but is still somewhat unique. So it's a basketball comparison, as usual, with me. I played a lot of basketball in my life, so that's what I rely on for comparisons. So here we go. The first comparison here is we are a pick and roll style team in basketball. Now, you may say, I don't like this from the jump. Pick and roll is what everyone uses in the NBA, and that is generally true. Defense knows where the ball is. That's where I start my comparison. Pick and roll, the ball handler has the ball, and there's someone setting a pick for him or her, and then the defense can trap the ball handler if he's a great playmaker. The defense can have the primary defender go under or go over and trail. They can do any number of things. The offense can be multiple as well, but the point is the point of focus for the defense is right there at the initiation of the play. And our quarterback doesn't move much in the pistol option scheme. He just doesn't. It's not specific to Lamar. It's just the organization and the structure of the play. For the pistol option, the quarterback's got to step off the midline, get his hips and feet off the midline, so the running back can go downhill, either straight downhill on the midline or slightly off at an angle. The ball is still staying within a 2 or maybe 3 foot area from where it was when Lamar initially received it. Lamar hasn't moved a lot. The point of focus for the defense is one spot, okay, or a very small area that's maybe 1 yard horizontally. Now, the outside zone, stretch, boot game, which is what I'm going to talk about. And if we're under center, I would presume that's what we're going to. Think the Shanahan-style offense that everyone talks about. But there's people who run it that aren't from a Shanahan tree, okay? The Titans under Arthur Smith when he installed it, so the primary components of that is Derrick Henry back there as one running back and Ryan Tannehill under center. Now the ball's snapped to the quarterback. The quarterback moves off at an angle, back turned to the defense. A 45-degree angle back to the left or back to the right, basically a 45-degree angle, essentially. The point of the focus for the defense is moving. The ball is moving more than it is in our pistol run schemes. It's moving horizontally and vertically. It's moving away from the line of scrimmage, and it's moving horizontally towards the sideline. Versus Lamar receives the ball, steps off the midline, presents the ball to the running back. The ball moves maybe a yard total. I would compare the stretch outside zone boot system to a designed play in basketball. So that where the ball is moving side to side, maybe there's a screen and roll to start the play, but that's just the primary initiation of it. The ball moves, maybe to a guy in the high post, maybe to a guy on the wing, and there's some complementary action off ball that is the real focus of the play, the real end result, trying to get a good shot. I would offer to you that the pistol option is more reliant on a great player, Lamar. Like a pick and roll was reliant on a LeBron or a Steph Curry, a guy to make the decisions. Once the ball is trapped or not trapped, or once the screen is set, maybe reset another screen, It's quarterback reliant. It's reliant on the player. Whereas the outside zone stretch boot system, the Shanahan system, is reliant on the coach to make adjustments from play to play, to see a situation and say, okay, we're going to call this out of this personnel group because we're getting this. Now, Lamar, the quarterback, has got to be able to make checks and adjustments too. All right. In my opinion, the pistol option, look, it's been incredibly effective at times for the Ravens, right? It has. It forces the quarterback to do much of the work. Read the DN, decide to give it or keep it. And the ball's not moved a whole lot, so the defense, the safeties even can sit back there and they can look at the ball, which if you think about the Bengals defense in Week 7 last year, that's what they did. They were all eyes on Lamar. The ball doesn't move much. It's right there for them to see. And I think we've got to let the coach do more work. He's got to do more work. We're going to get into some film here. I know my lead-in has been long. Forgive me if you sat through the first video and now you've sat through 6 minutes with no video, no plays. I think the quarterback has got to be absolved of some responsibility. He can take it. He can do it. Don't get me wrong. But we ask him to do too much, in my opinion. We're going to get some answers during the stadium practice tonight. Let's look at some film if you're watching. And I'm going to record this straight through, to be honest with you. There's not going to be any re-recording of this. Hopefully the audio is good to go. We're going to start with Titans film, to be honest with you. This is a stretch play for a touchdown against the Dolphins in 2021. You can see as you get the end zone angle, the quarterback's back is turned to the defense at some point. And yes, when you see some plays of the Ravens quarterbacks' backs are going to be turned as well. But the real issue here is under center how long the quarterback's back is turned. It's for, I would offer to you maybe half a second or 3/4 of a second longer. So what it does is it allows these second-level defenders and even the first-level defenders to take more steps in the direction that the quarterback and the running back are moving. Versus in the pistol, the ball is not presented as long. The quarterback's back isn't turned very long at all. These guys aren't taking as many steps. And they're able to redirect quicker. Not that we can't run these things from the pistol. They're just not as effective. That's my opinion. What does the stretch run game do outside zone? Look, I did record a similar video like this last year. What does it do? Forces the defense to compensate for it, and then hits them with the play action. This is a boot action, a great play, and they're putting the DNs and multiple players in conflict. They're putting guys like this in conflict. What's he going to do when the run action, when everyone goes away from him? All these linemen are working away from him. What's he do? He could run down the line of scrimmage to chase the run play if the run game has been killing him. He could veer off and go to hit the quarterback on the boot. I know there's a lot of lines here. Or he could play it a little bit more fundamental play, and you'll see some examples of this later, where he squares up to the line of scrimmage, so where his left shoulder is here, and his right shoulder is here, and his face mask would be in this direction, looking at the quarterback. And what that simulates is him playing halfway. So once he sees the ball is handoff, then go. Once he sees the quarterback keeps it, then go. But you can't do that when your whole focus is on one or the other. Chandler Jones is a guy who would often run to the quarterback and get a sack. The Ravens will run down the line of scrimmage. Watch the movement they're getting from all these guys. To our left, the defense is right, and then back again the other way. Look at all those defenders moving. 2 full steps, and then trying to recover. In my opinion, this system allows lesser quarterbacks, less talented quarterbacks, and less talented receivers and tight ends. And I don't mean to denigrate an NFL player. They're all talented. They're all supremely talented. It allows them to succeed and make more plays because the design of the offense is putting players in conflict. The Ravens fans, we should be familiar with this concept. 2020, we're trying to defend the Titans in the playoffs. By this time, the run game's been established, right? They beat us in 2019. They beat us at home in 2020 in the overtime game. Derrick Henry busted a long play for a touchdown to finish the game in overtime. Now, it's not a huge gain, don't get me wrong, but it puts someone in conflict. Who? It puts Matthew Judon in conflict. You're going to see him run down the line. He's not going to have his shoulders square. He's going to be looking in this direction. Why? Well, they've got Derrick Henry. That's why. And then Tannehill is a pretty good athlete, is going to be able to get the edge. Imagine Lamar doing this. Maybe you don't get a guy like Judon running down the line of scrimmage because of the threat of Lamar keeping this around the edge. That's the structure. That's the plan, is put the DN in conflict. In my opinion, it's conceptually the same thing as the option game. It's just we're not asking the quarterback to read it. He can't, clearly. His back is turned. We're calling it for him as a coach. Similar play sequences in 2019, by the way. This is the second play of the game. That one I just showed you was the first play of the game in the playoffs in 2020. This is the second play of the game. They've run for like a 4-yard gain, stretch off the defense's right side, the offensive left. This is a second, or 1-yard gain, excuse me. This is a second down, 2nd and 9. And we get a boot that we play horribly by Chuck Clark, who's not an inside linebacker, but is being asked to do so. And we'll get motion. You'll see LJ Fort and Chuck Clark kind of point something out. We've defended these concepts really bad. And when you get these two drags here, one low and one high, LJ Fort, as the front side inside linebacker, should be defending the outside one. Chuck Clark should be defending the inside one, and that's the guy who catches the ball. Look, you can advocate for Chuck Clark to play more inside linebacker, and I would too if we're going to be playing man, not when we're going to see schemes like this. He's not prepared for this because it's not something he practices all the time. It's just called I'm putting more speed on the field and more athleticism. Watch LJ Fort redirect quickly, and Chuck, who's lined up at the line of scrimmage, he's capable of playing this better if he's able to train on it. Just to re-explain it, Chuck should be covering this first one. LJ Fort should be running underneath of this second one, which I think is Jonnu Smith. What ends up happening is LJ Fort overlaps him because Chuck Clark is so far out of position. Why? Doesn't mean Chuck Clark's a bad player. The design, the system, the play sequence is a good one. It's difficult to defend when you have that good of a running attack with Derrick Henry. Just as an aside, we don't play it well here with our young inside linebackers either. It's ironic, the guys who've spent the least amount of time in the Ravens' defensive system in recent years are the guys who defend it the best. I'm talking about Josh Bynes and LJ Fort. They've been there for 2 years. Queen is now finishing his 3rd year. Harrison is a 2nd-year player, has never been in another structure in the NFL. Those guys literally run right by the tight end running the drag route. It's a fake toss play. The 49ers use this often with Jimmy Garoppolo. Quarterback's back is turned, not for nearly as long as some of the plays I've showed you by the Titans, because it's a toss action, but Queen and Harrison are biting on it. Let's relate it to the Ravens' offense. Is every team going to have very young inside linebackers like these two? Well, no. I believe Patrick Queen is still 23 years old, so there's a lot of football left in him and a lot of growth that's possible and very likely, if you ask me. Certainly not trying to run those guys down. I think Queen's going to have a great year, and I hope Harrison stays healthy and gets opportunities this year too. All right, 3 plays in a row from the Browns that are not outside zone boot stuff. Just play action under center. We could do these things. This is a classic Raven route, Ravens concept in terms of the route that is used. So you're going to get the fullback out into the flats. You're going to get the guy who went in motion on a little deeper out, and then the number 1 receiver to that side running what is essentially a clear out route. You could still throw the football to him. We run this as flood. I mean, we run this. Sometimes we run it and the backside guy is running this route. So, act like this route isn't there. My mouse functioning doesn't allow me to do that. So you'd have this route, the clear out, and fullback out into the flat. Same concept. We could run this certainly with Lamar under center, and he wouldn't be reading the DN. We'd be putting people in conflict with the run action on a 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4. I know there's a lot of people who have a problem with QB counter read or bash on 3rd and 4. I kind of do as well. Play action down in the goal line, 2020 against the Titans. Run game's got to be working for this. You see the 2 inside linebackers for the Titans have gone with the downhill action of Nick Chubb. They're completely out of position. I don't say out of position. They're out of position for this late route that's developing here, which is the one that Baker Mayfield hits. Again, in my opinion, it allows lesser quarterbacks, lesser talented players, the opportunity to succeed. Now the design of the play action isn't always going to be run action to this side and the play action, coming back to the opposite side of the field. Sometimes it's a front side play action where you get the play action to the offense's right, top side of the screen for us, and then it's designed to free up Jarvis Landry in the corner of the end zone. I offer to you that this is complementary stuff that's not boot action oriented, but it's still quality stuff. All right, let's move on to some Ravens film. If you sat and watched 15 minutes, you're dedicated, so kudos to you. This is going to be pistol plays from 2019 for the most part against the Patriots first. This is a boot play off the run action. So Lamar is going to fake the handoff to Gus Edwards. And then we've got Hayden Hurst running out into the flats. Now, there's a lot to say about the reason why he ended up being open. I'll try to say a couple of things first, but pay attention to how long Lamar's back is turned to the defense. Not turned to us, but turned to the defense. It's not nearly as long as it is in some of these other plays that I've shown you. He's presenting the ball to Gus. Now his back is still turned and he's hiding the football now, so that's good. So you're getting movement by these guys. Hightower, though, sees Hurst going out into the flats, ends up covering him, and the Patriots are well schooled, with these edge players on flow away. He's trying to keep his shoulders square to outflank Lamar so that Lamar can't, take off and run to the sideline and get an easy 10 or 12 yard gain. Still a 5 or 6 yard gain, still solid offense that creates conflict for the defense. So to create that conflict, you have to be able to run the stretch or run the inside zone to the other way, and certainly we'll be able to do that when we have all our running backs healthy. I can't wait to see some of the guys we have signed, to be honest with you. Corey Clement, Mike Davis, and others are quality guys specifically, and they've played in this system. That's another element to this. What do you need in order to run it? You need interior linemen who can move. You need interior linemen who can move horizontally while engaging people. To me, Tyler Linderbaum, Kevin Zeitler, Patrick McCarry are suited for this. Ben Powers is certainly a smaller lineman who's quick. I don't think he's as quick as McCarry, and I don't think he has the film that shows his ability to engage people on the move that McCarry does. Specifically when McCarry played at right tackle against the Chiefs in Week 2, he did a great job on Jones. Did a fantastic job. This is a ridiculous play by Lamar, but the boot action off of it, there's people, friends of mine actually, who say Lamar's ball fakes suck. Well, your ball fakes are not the same length of time in the pistol as they are under center. And you can see that this D-end isn't fooled at all. He's not fooled at all. Why is that? Because he's able to see it quicker versus if Lamar was under center. And I may be wrong, and if you think I'm wrong, then just say it in the comments section. That's fine. I just don't think that these plays have the same amount of time from when the ball is snapped to when Lamar keeps it and starts to run around the edge. It's happening faster, and the faster it's happening, in my opinion, that's actually creating less amounts of conflict for defenders because they're able to see it and recognize it quicker. Versus if we're under center, you get an extra step and a half, maybe two, where those guys are unsure of who has the football, and it puts them in a little bit more conflict, if you ask me. Unbelievable play. Lamar gets around the edge here, completes it to Sammy Watkins, through, around, whatever, 3, 4, 5 defenders. Sick play. He's more talented than Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott. Some of the other guys that run these types of systems that play under center. We can run the stretch. We do actually run the stretch. We run it a little bit differently. We oftentimes block the backside D end with the tackle. Everyone else runs the stretch. Everyone else on the offensive line. You usually get a pin by the X receiver, or the Z, and then we fold back across the tight end into the backside B gap. And what it does is, or what they're trying to do is, give us this backside wind back or this cut back. Now you can see we're not taking it by Tyson Williams. We're getting around the edge. Great job here by McCarry on Jones, first of all. Jones, an all-pro type player. And we're reaching him to give Tyson Williams the edge. So there's a little bit different design by the Ravens. Let me actually talk about one more element of our stretch play that I would love to see us retain. Right now, this D tackle's in what I would call a 1, or some people call it a shade, whatever. When we get a D tackle in a 3 here, okay, so he'd be outside shoulder of Powers, and we're running stretch. So everybody's working this way. One of the things the Ravens do that I love, it's nasty, is we will leave that 3 technique unblocked, and Ricard or Boyle or whoever the Y is, the tight end, will work back this way and cut him and chop him down. That creates indecision in a D tackle's mind. Now, there's some very real pre-snap indicators to us running this play. We're in the pistol, and we have usually 2 and sometimes 3 guys tightly aligned to our right. That's a real indicator that we're getting ready to run stretch to our right. You can't give away things like that. In my opinion, you have to be a little bit better formationally, not being so predictable. And I would even offer to you that it's possible that's why Sorensen stepped down to the line late, because he thought this play might be coming. I don't feel like in the pistol set. Also, and this is one thing, I looked at my notes real quick. My main point for the rationale behind we may be going to this is well, there's 2. Number 1, ask Lamar to read the DNs less. Preserve his career a little more by running less. I mean, that should be a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Not that he gets hurt running the ball. He hasn't, I don't think, other than maybe the flip near the end of this game, right? But it is really, as we're under center, if we were running this play, Lamar, to me, his back is going to be turned to the defense from here, to here when he's got the ball, or whatever it is. Maybe I should have drawn this line here. His back is turned to the defense for this entire length of time, with the football being well hidden. That's a longer period of time for the defense to continue moving horizontally to match everyone else's movement. That's my point, is that the pistol doesn't lend itself. It's not Greg Roman. It's not Lamar. Well, it is Greg Roman because he's the one responsible for the pistol system. But it's not Lamar's ball fakes. It's not Greg Roman as a person. It is the type of offense that we're using that creates less conflict on those stretch and boot plays off of it. Because I know there's going to be people say, well, we've ran boot, coach. You've shown in here, and it's not that effective. It's not as effective because we're in the pistol. I challenge you, find some pistol offense teams who run the boot game very effectively. I don't know who they are. I really don't. The teams that run the boot in the most effective manner, from what I recall mentally right now, is teams that are under center. All right, what do we normally do out of the pistol? We normally run option, where the running back's going downhill, Lamar's stepping back off the midline, presenting the football, and then either giving it to the running back, or he's keeping it to run around the end. Right? So there's only 2 elements to it. It's not like high school or college teams that'll run a guy in motion and now there's a third element, whereby the running back is the dive, quarterback is the keep, and then the guy in motion is the pitch. We've only got 2 elements to it, right? We just don't have the personnel to do it. Here we should be reading Max Crosby, but Max Crosby's lined up in what I would call a 7. Some people will call a 6-eye. And he's inside the tight end, so we're just going to take him down. And by the way, that is our quarterback dribbling a football. I've never seen this before. I actually talked about this on my other channel. I don't know if you're as impressed by it as I am. Try to dribble a football. I'm going to rewind it so you can see it again. I've never seen someone dribble a football. I've never seen someone like Lamar Jackson. So, there you go. I slowed it down so you can see it. Sure looks like he's dribbling it to me. All right, another option play. Downhill. Here, Lamar's reading this D end. I offer to you we should take this out of our practice plan. But let's keep it in the system. Let's use it a minimum each week so he can retain these skills. But I don't feel the need for us to spend a whole hell of a lot of time. He's got this down. And here's how I know he's got it down. An inexperienced quarterback doing this would be looking, his face mask will be looking right there. Look at Lamar. His face mask is like that way. Maybe even parallel to the line of scrimmage. But out of the corner of his eye, he's looking at Frank Clark. Now, there are some who would say, no, this is an auto give. No, it's not. Lamar reads it. He reads it. There may be some times to run an auto give. I think we should keep this in the system for those teams who've struggled with it in the past. There's a lot of complementary things we can do. There's no reason why we can't be under center, run the pistol, and be in the regular shotgun. Ryan Tannehill does it. Now, he doesn't do this. He doesn't do the pistol. But for one moment, why do I think we should keep it in the system? Because it sets up natural play action on the route that Mark Andrews does best, the over route. Now, this is actually a drag, but that's our main route because Andrews is good at it, but also because in the pistol, that's what's there immediately. And we have play designs to really open up. Watch Marquise Brown's route. Open up this area here. And I think it's Nick Boyle who runs onto it. It's just, we have these in our system. We should keep them. Expand the offense. You can't have a 5-hour practice in the NFL, thank God. All right, that will wear dudes out. You can be better as a coach to keep these things in the structure of the system and expand it. Look how easy this is for Lamar. It's not something that, if you ask me, he would need considerable practice time to retain as a skill, but only use whenever we need it. Offense has got to get better. Certainly Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and the Eagles and the Chargers do a whole bunch of shit offensively. We should too. Don't spend X amount of time, let's say an hour and 20 minutes a week, on pistol option reads with Lamar. Don't. Cut that by 2/3. Spend 40 minutes a week, maybe even 25. Give him more time to practice throwing the ball. Give him more time to advance the passing game, which I think we did early in 2021. Give him more time to do the things that every other quarterback spends 220 minutes a week or whatever on, and Lamar only gets to spend 180, maybe 200 or whatever, because he's spending so much time on this stuff. Now, this is a beautiful play. If you're a coach, specifically an option coach, you probably remember this one. A lot of people talked about it after that game in 2019. This is midline option. We're not reading the D end, who you can see is lined up out wide. Now, that could be a call. It could be an adjustment at the line. I'm not so sure it is because I think we ran this twice against the Patriots. They have 3 outside linebackers on the field, just so you know. And I actually alluded to this a little bit in a video a week ago and also on Twitter. Just so you know, there's the 3 outside linebackers. What a lot of option teams will do is they'll call a play. Outside veer, let's say. That's inside veer. Let's say inside veer. And then the quarterback comes to the line, looks at the defense, picks the correct side to run it to, meaning the side that has the best chance to gain yards, and then we run the play to that side after the quarterback makes an audible. The audible is not quick. It's just one word. Might be Ricky, Ricky, Lucy, Lucy. All right? Whatever it is, it's an audible that's a directional audible. Now, we could be making a directional audible here. Why? Because you've got 2 LOBs here and only 1 here. Very similar to the look the Steelers have given us twice in the last maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, where they've given us a basically what I would say some people would call a 3-5. 3 outside linebackers, 2 inside linebackers, and 3 down linemen. And what we're doing is we're optioning this guy. This is the midline element of it. We're not optioning the outside linebacker or DN. We're optioning the D tackle. 1 inside linebacker and D tackle go to the running back, and Lamar keeps it for a huge gain. I don't know if I explained that play, really well there. To be honest with you, I have more thoughts in my head than I probably said there on the video. In my opinion, move away from the pistol option. Give Lamar less to do. I call it his workflow chart. I think I've referred to it many, many times in videos. Reduce his workflow chart. Make him work on less concepts, and then it gives him more time to work on those concepts. Be more effective because you're spending more time consistently on the things you want to see him do in the game. The people who say we're going to fall behind in football games, yeah, we will eventually, and we're not going to be able to come back because the passing game's not going to be evolved. First of all, I think you're jumping the gun a little bit, but let's agree on one thing. If you believe it's going to be difficult for us to come back in the passing game, then you should agree with the premise of my video here, which is reduce the pistol option or eliminate it from the playbook altogether. Save it for later in the season. Save it for certain moments. Save it for the playoffs when you haven't used it a lot. Save it for a team that it has worked against for whatever reason, historically, or a certain coordinator. Give Lamar more time to spend on passing concepts. We're in the gun here, so we're not in the pistol. And a couple of things to observe here. The Patriots, again, like I mentioned earlier, they're really disciplined with these guys. Watch how square this guy stays. So if we were in the pistol and run and stretch, or under center and run and stretch away from him, all right, he would have more time to have to decide what to do. Now, he's not going to stop a stretch play away from him necessarily, but he may fold once he sees the ball committed, and he may be able to stop a cutback play and hold it to a 4 or 5 or 6 yard gain when it could have been, a 10 or 12 yard gain, because A, he's well disciplined, and B, Tannehill Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, some of the other guys that are under center running that stretch aren't that quick here. My opinion, we create more conflict by giving him a longer period of time, even if it's only a half second or 3/4 of a second, where he has to decide what he should do. In this gun system, he sees it immediately, but he's very square, extremely disciplined. Lamar's faster than him. It's still a 6 or 8 yard gain, but this guy's able to limit it to a 6 or 8 yard gain because of how disciplined he is. Also because there was less amount of time where he was in conflict. He's in conflict right now, but that time that he's in conflict is ending at this instant because he's looking right at the ball. He can see the ball. Lamar's back is not turned. We're in the gun. I still like us being in a regular shotgun like this, what I call A or B gun, running back next to the quarterback. But when he's in conflict, when the quarterback's back is turned to the defense, he doesn't see it because the design of it is to put the quarterback's body between him and the ball. That's the angle it's supposed to be at. Last one, and then we're going to be done with this. I know this video is going on long, and again, this is the second time I published it today. Quarterback counter read, or what a lot of people call bash. Lamar keeps it on this one, which is the correct read. He's reading this D end here. And we're running Freeman across his face. So on a horizontal run action, reading this D end, if this D end comes upfield to tackle Freeman, which he does, Lamar keeps it. If this D end runs at Lamar to theoretically tackle Lamar, then Lamar should give the football. It's a great play. Keep it in the system. Keep it. Because we're fantastic at it. No problem with it. But let me talk about predictability a little bit. You can't run this play out of the pistol. That's one of the things that makes us predictable. It's not just the plays that are being called, guys. It's the backfield alignments that make us predictable. So if we're going to be in the pistol and then the regular shotgun, we are going to be predictable. There is no angle that you can run this at. When the running back's feet are here, left foot and right foot, there's no angle that he can run this at where Lamar can read this guy, you know what I mean, and get back to the other side. I guess actually there is boot. It's just this guy wouldn't be being read. We'd be blocking him. We'd all be stepping this way as an offensive line. We'd all be stepping this way. And then most teams on the stretch the other way, you know, the tackle goes to the backside inside linebacker or gets the backside D tackle. We know, as I explained, our guy steps to the backside D end. That's what we do. So I like this play. I'm offering to you that it is an example that we run certain option schemes out of the shotgun and we run certain option schemes out of the pistol. We're going to get one more play here. Then I'll have a little commentary at the end. If my overall point is being lost here, you know, let me know in the comments section. The Chiefs know this play is coming, by the way. Watch what happens here and here, really from the end zone angle, which I know this is not. This is the all-22. Once we motion the running back. This is Freeman's first carry with the Ravens. Great job by Ricard. And a great job by Freeman. You know, we wish he had scored there, but awesome to see. All right, we're in the pistol. And you got Sorensen. This is to my point that I just made a moment ago about how predictable we are depending on the backfield alignment. There's Sorensen up here. Hopefully you can see him. And watch what this outside linebacker and this D tackle, which is Jones, do when Freeman goes next to him. He pushes him down, and you can't see it. It's off screen. Sorensen's shadow is right here. He's coming down. Why? Because he knows what's coming. We don't run regular option stuff out of this backfield alignment. We run it out of the pistol. When we go to this, which I would call jokers, and if Ricard was out of here, if Ricard wasn't there, this would be A gun or B gun or king or queen. You know, different people have different names, but every defense has their own name. Our particular one that we used in my system was pistol, or was A gun, B gun, or king, queen, depending on the week. We didn't use the same one every week. He's pushing him down because they know what's coming. So what they're going to try to do is this D end is running down the line. This is the same play as the last one. It's just being run to the opposite side. All right. Freeman is crossing Lamar's face horizontally. Lamar is reading this outside linebacker, 56. They have made this call so that the outside linebacker forces Lamar to give it. Freeman is running horizontally. Sorensen, who's off screen, is coming downhill to be the force player. Hopefully you guys can see that arrow. Yeah, you can. And then they've made this call so that this inside linebacker fits between those two. So you've got a force player, which would have been Sorensen. You got the read key, which is 56, who's be coming down the line here. And then the guy they want to make the tackle is this inside linebacker, who I think plays it wrong. You can see it's a keep read by Lamar. And by the way, it's not like Lamar is told either give it or keep it. Here's what he's told. Give it unless this defensive end comes down the line of scrimmage like this. He's not told decide what to do. No, that's not the way you teach it. You teach them give it unless something happens. In some plays, you teach them keep it unless something happens, all right? That's just how you teach it. It's more definitive. This, you can see that Sorensen's going to be the force player, keeping the ball inside, and this inside linebacker should fit in between here. So they had a good call. They understood the play. 53 just doesn't fit in the gap he's supposed to. He fits essentially in the same gap as that outside linebacker 56. Two guys in one gap doesn't work, and there you go. I kind of digressed there at the end in terms of what I was talking about. I hope you appreciate the video. This is now my second time recording it, like I said. I want to see us go away from the pistol option. It's okay with me if we're still in the pistol sometimes and keep the pistol option there. I just want to see Lamar do it less. How could we still create that conflict? How could we still put defensive ends in conflict, but reduce the number of techniques Lamar's asked to do? Maybe even put him in less danger. I don't know. Remove the pistol option scheme or reduce it significantly. If we use it 60% of the time, use it 15 or 20, maybe 30 at most. I would like to see us be under center some. I think there's some markers that we're going to be. If Patrick McCarry ends up being the left guard, and we got Linderbaum and Zeitler as center and right guard, we got three really quick guys, and we can handle D tackles on the stretch stuff. Basically, you're giving the running back a two-way go. You're letting the running back and the coach do the work on run plays, which is what it should be. And then you're letting the quarterback do the work on pass plays, which is what every other quarterback gets to do. Lamar's special. He's the best. He's one of the best football players I've ever seen. And it's cool if you're not a Ravens fan, you've lasted this long in the video, and you disagree with me. That's fine. It's no problem. It's okay for you to be wrong. But reduce the number of things for Lamar to practice. Increase his amount of time to spend on the things every other quarterback gets to spend time on. And you'll see increased efficiency, in my opinion. 2021 is a poor way to judge Lamar. If we only watched 2021 film, you would say, well, this guy looks like he's a pretty good player, but his offensive line sucks. But Lamar doesn't get that type of evaluation. We've seen a certain level of play from Lamar, so people say, well, he's trending down. Most of the people say trending are people who've never played the game, in my experience. They're people who don't have experience in a helmet, trying to read the game, or as a coach up top in the press box or on the sideline, trying to figure out how to put kids and players in the best position so they can succeed and everybody can have a great experience. I think we're going to have a better experience as fans and the Ravens as players and organization if we put Lamar under center and remove the requirement that he must read the defensive end 15, 18, 20 times a game on our run concepts. We can run stretch with this offensive line with any of our running backs. J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards will be great stretch running backs. And Gus actually already is a great stretch running back. We ran it some in 2019 and 20. He was fantastic at it. I can't believe no one on the Ravens staff sat and looked at that film from 18 and 20 and said, hey, why don't we run this a little more with Gus Edwards? Because he's a one-cut guy. One cut means I see there's nothing here. I'm a cut. I'm going downhill now. You better be there or I'm getting 6 or 8. That's a one-cut guy. A one-cut guy makes one cut, gets his shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage, and he's downhill. J.K. Dobbins is a little bit less of a one-cut guy. He can do that, but J.K. Dobbins is a guy who might make 2 cuts. He might make 2 cuts in a spin move. He's just special. Batty, Mike Davis, Corey Clement, those are zone system guys as well. It's very possible that the Linderbaum pick was the first clue for us that we were going away from pistol option. And I offer to you that that could be happening. I guess the stadium practice tonight will let us know. If you sat and watched both of these videos, man, please let me know in the comments section. YouTube's giving me a way to gift 1-month memberships to people. I would love to do that for someone. It's not that the membership on YouTube is, at this point in time, off season, is really a whole lot to offer. There are members only posts and members only videos, but if you sat and watched both videos, please let me know. I appreciate you guys checking the video out, being patient with me with the audio issues. Let me know what you think of my ideas in the comments section. And if you agree with me that it would help Lamar being able to practice less things, he will be more effective at the things we're actually asking him to do.